Did you guys know there's cards that the OCG got in like 2019 that we still don't have yet? And I'm not talking like vanillas or cards that go back even further than that. I'm talking about a lot of cards that are like significant boosts for certain archetypes that are out already that we still do not have, and I'm not really sure why. So in today's video, we're going to jump into that and take a look at some cards that the OCG has but the TCG doesn't, in a bit of a wish list, but hopefully these are going to get imported soon, either in Brothers of Legend or maybe Maximum Gold if there's new cards. And if not, there's always the OCG Imports slots that come in sets, so plenty of opportunity, but hopefully we will get that and we won't have to wait too much longer. So let's take a look at the cards today that should be imported into the TCG from the OCG. Alright, awkwardness of that intro aside, we got a lot of cards that obviously the OCG has that we don't. Tons of them are vanillas that have been around forever, that have, you know, maybe slowly started to get put into like speed duel sets or random OTSs, and maybe for whatever reason, art-wise, we couldn't get. But these are all relatively new cards for significant archetypes. So, first off is Decode Talker Heatsoul. If you play any cyberspace decks, you've definitely heard of this card. It's obviously a card a lot of people want to get their hands on. Code Talker has seen a little bit of representation at some online events, and could probably be a lot better if they had their main boss monster. This card is from the Legendary Gold box, as you'll see that's kind of the theme for a lot of cards on this list. It needs 2+ Cybers monsters with different attributes. It is a Link 3, and it gains 500 attack for each monster it points to. Quick effect, you can pay 1,000 life points, draw one card, then if your life points are 2,000 or less, you can banish this card from the field, and if you do, special summon one Link 3 or lower Cyberse monster from your extra deck except Decode Talker Heatsoul. So in addition to being draw power, it's a quick effect replacement. You can put out any of your other Code Talker monsters depending on the situation that you're in. It's a pretty solid beater, and it does so much for Code Talker, but also decks like At Ignister can utilize this. It basically brings out any Link 3 or lower Cybers from your extra deck, so you've got plenty of options to bring out depending on your situation, and it opens the door for a ton of different styles and approaches with deck building. Of course, it looks freaking awesome, too, with the artwork, and I definitely am surprised we haven't gotten this yet, but I gotta imagine that either A, it'll be in a future set, because I think there's more cyber stuff coming, or B, maybe they're just waiting a little bit longer until the opportunity is right to put this in something similar to Red Eye's Dark Dragoon, which was in the Megatins. I think that's more of a one-off than something we can expect going forward, but maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Next one is Elemental Hero Neos KLUGERÐ. I know people probably aren't clamoring for this from a competitive standpoint, but it is a really cool card art-wise, and obviously heroes, you know, typically do well value from a collector's standpoint, so there's arguments to be made for this card. It is a fusion of Elemental Hero Neos and YuGiOh, similar to the original Neos Wise Man, except he had to be tributed, whereas this can be brought out from the extra deck. It must be fusion summoned. Before damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. If this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Neos Wiseman from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning condition. So I don't know how often that would actually come up, but it's still kind of neat to look at it and see a way to get Neos Wiseman on the field as a replacement. It bypasses the summoning restrictions. This card isn't going to do anything competitively, but it is a really cool card, and it would be awesome to see it get printed, kind of along with more YuBell support, realistically, if you ask me, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. The card itself, though, could definitely be an import in a future set. I could definitely see this fitting in your Brothers of Legend as a secret rare, or in the next March reprint set. Odd-Eye's Rebellion Dragon Overlord. This is another one with awesome artwork. I'm not sure exactly how viable this one is in the current meta, but it's a Xyz monster, 2 level 7s. You can also Xyz summon this card by using a Rebellion Xyz monster you control as material, then transfer its materials to this card. First of all, just to quickly intercept there, that means you can use like Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, so it's not super hard to bring out. If you can Pendulum Summon level 7, you can Pendulum Summon this face-up card from your extra deck. This card that was Xyz summoned using a rank 7 Xyz monster can make up to 3 attacks on 3 monsters during each battle phase. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you can place it in your Pendulum Zone. So, can attack up to 3 monsters. It's pretty easy to bring out, but it's a lot easier to bring out if you're using, you know, the Dark Rebellion, which is a rank 4, and if you do it that way, you don't necessarily get the additional effects that come with it. The Pendulum effect says once per turn you can special summon this card from the Pendulum Zone, and if you do, special summon run Rebellion or Phantom Knight's Xyz monster from your extra deck using this card as material for the Xyz summon. Then you can attach one card in your Pendulum Zone to it as material. So you do have ways to get access to some of your other Phantom Knights or Rebellion Xyz monsters. I suppose there's some interesting interaction there, but most of the Phantom Knight cards are pretty easy to bring out on their own, and I don't know anything that's going to like benefit from this so significantly that you're going to dedicate the extra deck space to it. That being said, it's a fan favorite card. Obviously, it's the retrain of Odd Eyes Rebellion, and I think a lot of people would like to have access to this in Pendulums, you know, depending on what type of builds they're playing. So I do think we should get this. It's going on about 2.5 years at this point. Not really sure what they're waiting for. Next up, Rainbow Dragon, the Zenith Crystal Beast. I love this card, and I've talked about it briefly on the channel before. I think this card would actually make a difference in Crystal Beast, being that it's probably the best single piece of support they have. It is considered a Crystal Beast, obviously, in the name, so that's huge going for it. If this face-up card is destroyed in the Monster Zone, you can place it face-up in your Spell and Trap Zone as a continuous spell, instead of sending it to the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Rainbow Dragon, the Zenith Crystal Beast, once per turn. During the attack declaration of a Crystal Beast monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. That's pretty good. It's a quick way to get it out on the field. You can banish this card that is currently treated as a continuous spell, special summon one level 4 or lower Crystal Beast from your deck, but negate its effects, and if you do, add one Ultimate Crystal monster from your deck to your hand. Ultimate Crystal is the Rainbow Dragon monsters, so pretty much any of them are treated as Ultimate Crystal monsters. In other words, though, this basically accelerates the process of getting the Crystal Beast out of the deck, getting them into the Spell and Trap Zone, and it's an extender that can be summoned and can push for further damage. Again, when it dies, it then takes the place of a Crystal Beast. So it does a lot in terms of being self-replacing, but it solves a huge problem that the deck has in the sense that it's so hard to get any Crystal Beast monsters out of the deck without using Pegasus, and if Pegasus is negated, then it's a lot harder to keep your plays going. I really, really want this card, and I'm hoping it comes out soon, because I do think it would do a lot to actually make Crystal Beast more viable as a fun, slightly above casual, but definitely still below rogue option, and it's one of my favorite decks. So hopefully we get this pretty soon. BORRELEND Dragon is another one that is from the Legendary Gold Box. It is a Link 5 that needs 3+ effect monsters. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, neither player can target this card with monster effects, so right off the bat, it's got a hell of a lot of protection going for it. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. That's a really solid boss option. Quick effect, you can target one effect monster on the field, discard one rocket monster in your graveyard, negate the effects of that monster on the field. Oh, I misread that, I'm so sorry. Quick effect, you can target one effect monster on the field and one rocket monster in your graveyard. Negate the effect of the monster on the field, and if you do, special summon that monster from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. That's another really, really powerful card. It's great for rockets, but it's also just a generic Link 5 that can't be destroyed by battle card effects or targeted by monster effects, which means it is an insanely tough monster to get over. This feels like the most meta-relevant card for them to print, and I think with rocket support coming out in Burst of Destiny, that is where we'll be most likely to see this imported. I could be wrong, but it looks like a good spot to fit that in. SALAMANGREAT Blaze Dragon is another card that I have known about for a while, kind of forgot existed until I was doing some research for this video. 2 level 4 monsters. If this card be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach one material from it instead. During the battle phase, if this card has no material, quick effect, you can special summon from your extra deck one SALAMANGREAT Xyz monster using this face-up card you control as material. You can only use the effect once per turn. If this exceeds summon card using SALAMANGREAT Blaze Dragon as material, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. So if you do something with SALAMANGREAT Sanctuary, where you rank it up into another copy of itself, you can pop an opponent's monster in a non-targeting fashion. Also, that is a quick effect, so you can do that during either player's turn and pop something, which is really neat. I like this card a lot. I think it's not necessarily going to fix SALAMANGREAT's problems, but it's another accessory for them to have access to, and it does sort of bring them a little bit more up to speed with the current meta, giving them another viable option. I do like it, and I think especially with Mirage Stallion 1, you have the options of what you want to go into. More often than not, you're going to duplicate it into a copy of itself, but built-in protection that then leads to being able to use its other effect is a really good combination. Where would this be slotted? I'm really not sure. If they were to put it in Brothers of Legend or something, it wouldn't be shocking. I don't know how much extra space they're actually going to have in that set, and if we'll actually get any imports, or if the plan is just to have that be exclusively cards from Animation Chronicle and then reprints on the TCG side in 2019, and it's definitely one of the more intriguing cards here, especially because it's not an extra deck monster and does a lot to boost the Cyberse archetype. This is a level 5 Cyberse Wind monster. If a Cyberse monster you control be used as link material for a Code Talker monster, this card in your hand can also be used as material. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Code Talker monster, you can target one level 4 or lower Cyberse in your grave, add it to your hand, or if this card on the field was used as material, you can special summon that monster instead, but negate its effects. So in other words, it's a substitute that you can use in your hand without having it on the field for a Code Talker, similar to Code Generator, so now there's multiple options that you can do to accelerate Heatsoul. And when you do use it for material, you can either recur a resource from grave or special summon a monster back to further link up, or depending on what other combos you're looking to do. This card actually feels like it genuinely is really, really good and would do a whole hell of a lot to make Cyberse a real competitive deck. I don't know whether or not there's any sort of radar for Konami to print this. It's been out for a while, and I'm surprised we didn't get it with the other ones, because I didn't really know it existed until I started researching for this video. I do try to keep up to date with the meta, but, you know, as you guys can imagine, there's so many cards, and it's possible that a few things kind of just get missed. It happens. This is an awesome, awesome card, and I'm really hoping we get it sooner rather than later, because I think it would make Cyberse, not at Ignister specifically, which is a good deck already, but Cyberse, like the Code Talker variants, if you will, a lot more viable. So these are my cards today that I think we should be getting in the TCG sooner rather than later. Cards that I want. It's more of a wish list than it is a prediction list, but it's one of the things that can be kind of fun to talk about. Let me know what you guys think. Did I miss anything? Are there cards you think are more pressing than these ones that we should get? Drop the comments down below. Please like the video if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time right here at Loveshack.